They thought they could bury me with a smirk and a stack of resignations. They were wrong. My name is Zara Cole, and this is the story of how I turned a room full of doubters into believers, one calculated move at a time. Picture this. I'm sitting in my late mother's office, the one she carved out of grit and genius, when her former right-hand man, Victor Kane, strolls in with a grin so smug it could curdle milk. He drops 25 resignation letters on my desk like they're a checkmate. "You're not ready for this, Zara," he says, arms folded. "This isn't your game. Stay with me, because have you ever inherited an empire only to find every door locked by people who think you're just a shadow of the one who built it? My mother, Elaine Cole, died on a Tuesday. A stroke, out of nowhere, no chance for goodbyes. She was the architect of Cole and Crescent, a financial firm that started in our basement and grew into a titan over 25 years. She ruled with a steel heart and a velvet voice, respected not for being kind but for being undeniable. Her death gutted me, but mourning was a luxury I couldn't afford. By Wednesday, the board had named me president. Interim, they emphasized, like I was borrowing the title. Victor, her deputy, looked at me and said, "This is temporary, Zara. We need someone with real weight."
Wait.
I had a finance degree from Wharton, had run projections for Mom since I was 17, and rewrote her risk models when her CFO fumbled. But to them, I was just the daughter, a young black woman in a room of gray suits and guarded smiles. Thursday morning, I walked into the office, still wearing the black blazer from her funeral, and saw those 25 letters. Names I knew, people Mom had mentored, whose kids I'd played with at company retreats.
Gone.
Victor leaned against the doorframe, sipping espresso like he'd already won. "They don't trust a legacy hire," he said. "No offense." I looked at him, my mother's old watch ticking on my wrist, and said one word. "Good."
His
smirk faltered. "Good," he echoed. I nodded. "You just showed me who's scared of change." I picked up the phone. "Nina, HR, draft severance for these 25.
No negotiations.
And pull Victor's contract." His cup hit the desk with a clink. "You're out of your depth," he growled. I smiled.
No, Victor.
"You're out of time." They thought I was a placeholder, a grieving girl playing dress-up in her mother's crown. But Mom had raised me in the shadows of her empire, teaching me to read not just numbers, but people, their hesitations, their half-truths. Victor was the worst of them, all charm and no loyalty, leaking deals to rivals while preaching devotion. Now he was in my building, plotting my downfall. I wasn't just ready. I was armed. The first sign of trouble came at a board meeting 3 weeks later. Victor, still acting like the office was his stage, was joking about Q4 forecasts when I asked, "Why did portfolio foresee drop $1.8 million in assets with no trades logged?" The room froze. Victor coughed. "A glitch, probably." I slid a report across the table. "Not a glitch. An unauthorized transfer to a shell account, backdated to 2021. Here's the audit trail." The board stirred. Victor's jaw tightened. I clicked to the next slide. His login, his IP, his mistake. "Care to explain?" I asked.
He didn't.
That night, my assistant, Kemi, slipped me a USB drive. "Victor's been feeding data to Apex Group," she whispered. "Our rival. Emails, client lists, projections, all sent from a ghost account." I stared at the drive, fury rising. This wasn't just betrayal, it was sabotage. In Mom's old desk, I found a sealed folder labeled for Zara, when it's time. Inside was a legal directive, full executive override, signed weeks before her death. She'd known the vipers circling her. She'd trusted me to strike. I didn't fire Victor right away. I let him stew, watching him strut through the halls, unaware I was rewriting the rules. I tightened financial controls, rerouted approvals through my office, and hired an external auditor under the guise of routine checks. I met with loyal staff, analysts, juniors, the overlooked, asking what they needed to thrive. One manager, Tasha, said, "This place used to feel like family before Victor turned it into a cage." I didn't promise. I planned. Kemi found the smoking gun, A hidden file where Victor listed investors he was wooing for his own startup, using our data. I built a 40-page dossier, emails, transfers, even a recorded rant where he called me a kid playing CEO. At the next board meeting, I presented the cost of betrayal. Slide by slide, I exposed him. The leaks, the funds, the lies. His voice echoed through the speakers. Coal and Crescent's done. I'll build something better from its ashes. The board went still. Victor stammered. This is slander. I held up Kemi's affidavit. This is evidence. The chair's voice was ice. Victor Kane, you're terminated for breach of duty and corporate espionage. He stormed out, shouting about lawsuits. Security had already cut his access. The fallout was messy. Client panic, a $1.1 million accounting gap. Whispers in the press. I worked 16-hour days, rebuilding trust, restructuring teams, launching a mentorship program for diverse talent. Slowly, the firm breathed again. Laughter returned to the break room. The audit later uncovered forged signatures linking Victor to 2 ex-board members. They resigned quietly. The culture shifted. We weren't just a firm. We were a mission. A year later, I got a crumpled letter from Victor. I underestimated you, Zara. You weren't just Elaine's shadow. You were the hurricane. I tucked it away, not for pride, but as a reminder. They'll always mistake your quiet for weakness until you show them the steel. At a conference, I wore Mom's favorite emerald green and spoke about power that doesn't need to shout. The crowd roared. Back at the office, I parked Mom's old convertible, forest green, restored, out front, top down. Let them see it. They tried to. Erase her, mock her, break her. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She just stood, rewrote the rules, and built a legacy that burned brighter than their doubts.